Oh yeah, okay, public servant. Thank you very much for your offer by email. Anybody listening to this, free okay. And basically, let me try and find this up. Anybody wants to research this. That's a sheet from 2014, and basically when certain things happened before, I won't go into now. When unfortunately people in my position are left with no family, physically in one's area, to assess the complexity of what's called as the Care Act 2014, and all the detailed initial assessments, all the data sharing, and it's quite intense, to put it mildly. And I was trying to work out, before I got this email just now, to just reassure these public servants in their job role, no disrespect to worse servants, and to seek clarity really on this email before bank holiday weekend hit. I just had this meeting, right, which this individual came across, and I know it's a job to do that, as anyone's in their job role, but bunch of blinking files with me, bunch of up-to-date, all you can imagine anyone's complexity in disabilities, the amount of medical equipment, the amount of companies you're involved with, the amount of people that you deal with. How the hell do you cope? On top with psychological disabilities and your health reduction, and then your dental health. It's one thing after another. Well, before that started happening, started the wet room disrepair. You've seen my videos about all that. And that's what I thought it was just about. But I didn't realise that my physical health, my psychological health, my dental health was going down the tube so quickly on top. So, behind the scenes, which I didn't know about till recently, and that's all the late 11th hour sort of thing last Friday, I didn't realise past 4 or 5 months my personal eldest son and my beautiful daughter-in-law would need to move away. So no longer an hour away, it's further away, so it's impossible to get to me, and let alone this technology to do weather work, and she's got a little girl and stuff. So it's impossible to try and help me now. And I've tried everything to help myself, but it's come to a point now where what happened to me before years ago, for all these years, I mean, this private arrangement unpaid for saved the public purse so much. And it's just been that. And because it's not state paid for, it's not in the system, well, that seems to be a problem for so long, with so many people. Why should it be? But now the red tape, I realised, well, what happened last year, it was hell on earth. And the way they did it, and the way I was vulnerable, and the way I couldn't get, which made me realise all these months on, that the way I ended up in hospital, the way things happened last year at September, and the way I've been left like this, it's made me realise I need to tap back into the system. And the way it's all works now is different. Not as much, but it's more difficult for me anyway, to used to be doing things just like casually and just non-formatted way of where it used to be like, a bit like being in the military, I suppose, you know, do this, do that certain times, you know. But the rota system, I mean, never really worked like that. But now, you can't believe what goes on around here either. Right now. How can I live constantly like this when I'm always bedbound? If I'm not in my wheelchair, the majority of my life, I'm in bed. That's how worse I've got my health. Reduction in my physical health. And this is what's made me realise. And it's been hard to face up to it. And it's not just because of the changes in PIP or anything like that. This has all happened before that come out of the blue, you know, the paperwork. So now, for years ago, past years ago, I've had all the paperwork. I've had so many assessments, so many housing needs assessments. It's been so many paper over the years. I didn't expect to get run over, did I? I didn't know what care meant. I didn't know what all this medical equipment meant. I didn't know this, that, and the other until bloody it all happened on me. So that set in what's known in the mental health. Thanks for checking in. You have to bear with me. I didn't realise. I don't know if anyone else has gone through similar, but when you're struggling with physical health and the trauma in your psychological well-being, and you pretend you're okay and you can't face the reality. I know it's not the end of the world, but you can't somehow face the changes in your body and let alone the harm and decay. And you don't get time to grieve. You don't get time to adjust because it's suddenly bombardment with what's all these assessments about? What? So yeah, it's been on top of that I've got the paperwork in front of me. When you report the abuse to the police, when you report the burns in your body, when you report the drop of the hoist, when you report everything that's happened in your own home. And then you find out afterwards, the first care company, they went bust. The reason why they went bust, people died in these care homes. And these were people, not the same ones, but the same company, bringing carers of me and doing this to me in my own home. So they got rid of, and then I was told I had to get out my home. I didn't know what my rights were back then, and I do now, but it was very hard to suddenly find yourself in an old people's home at a young age, and then moved on to another place with serious people, real brain injuries, right? And it was hell. It must be hell for them. Perhaps they don't realise, but I don't know how families cope. So it was a difficult job for finding an emergency place just like that by a social worker. Well, I didn't appreciate it then. I realise that now, but it was difficult for me then. And then it was like finding me another emergency place and pushed about. It was just unreal. And I was told it was a respite place, but it weren't. It was a rehabilitation place. They lied. If they was just open, honest with me, social worker people, I would appreciate it. And then that was hell. If they just said, well, this is how we do things, and explained it before it happened, I wouldn't have had such a negative experience and my rights abuse there. Because it works well with those that have strokes and get referred correctly via hospital and other things happen to them and they get referred this particular place and services. But the way it happened with me, it weren't like that. Oh my gosh. So that's why I had the lawyer at the time. That's why I had my sister at the time to push me to get home back in. And this is why I started getting, you see, I didn't know, I'm not going to say what company is, but I didn't know it was the same company's merged with public services opposite me now. So I can't forget what's happened. I'm trying to forgive. And it's an important lesson to do that for me, but it's hard work. And it's very difficult to forget, but I can't change everything that's happened. And now I'm dealing with a current real difficult situation. It's hard to relive all that again, you see, but especially last Thursday. And I know she was just doing a job and trying to help me, but you don't realise how re-traumatising it all is. And then get an email out the blue the Friday, the way it was worded, I'm sure they're pressurised with so many cases on their plate, so many people like me to help, to see if they meet the criteria, by the way, to get help. And everything I know, and everything I've learned, it's all come to like fall right in my face. I feel like it's all happening again. And I've had to try to get my head around it all, like, for the past 3 years or so. It's been that time and that balance in my life where I've been able to try and adjust But in a way, I've been avoiding the reality I'm living in. And the real difficulties, because when you're in the old system bidding for a bungalow and you have all these reports, that all these OTs are held in these reports, you name it, and the housing reports, etc., etc. When they wouldn't adapt my flat, they would forget to do my kitchen, so it's left like it is. It's real nightmare. And then they wouldn't even know a 10 months with a wet room. I know what it's behind it. I offered to move, but I thought it was just housing, you see. I thought I'd just move out, find a place that meet my needs when they got blocked, all that. Well, I knew there's more to it. Well, at the end of the day, I'm a secure tenure. I did not expect that as soon as I moved in, I'll get run over and end up in this position all these years on. So I think it was 2013, the last OT assessment. Yes, on time, innit? And by 2014, when all this physical, they still live around here. Certain neighbours that witnessed my data breach by a carer, by a certain neighbour that's her campaign for years, and now with her mum of disability hate. So severe now, it's so bad. And yet, you see, I used to report it and nobody get held accountable. But when I did follow the procedures before, I know now, obviously, in to hold these females accountable, you see, you get abused one-on-one in a public place, demeaned. Oh, you wouldn't believe half the things that went on. And then when it's two of them and you in your own home, unless you got secret cameras hidden about, who they're going to believe, you know? And it come to a head where, thank God, I had a blinking neighbour witness that data breach, and that led up to the disability hate. And I still got the police report. Then I could type. But the weakness of my right side of my not being in my right hand, I can move it, but I can no longer move my right arm up to my my shoulder level. And this is why I call it blinking GP people, because why now? Why my body's gone now the way it's gone? So it does affect your psychological way of thinking, mindset, and it's difficult to get it balanced. And this is why, reluctantly, I sought the help in the hospital last September now, and I didn't realise suddenly my dental health started going down here at the same time. Yeah, talk about bad luck. And so my sister, really, one in Wales, she was the one I was contacting all the time, because my son, bless his heart, is working a different job and he's raising up the ranks. And then my daughter-in-law with a baby, you know, and then they moved away. And then my other daughter, you know, my other adult daughter, like, she don't want to know. And my grandchildren. So yeah, when you cut off like that, it is isolating. So you try and make most of negative situations. That's why I learned, and I thought I was doing well. Self-coping, i.e. on the meditation for the psychological, the serious stuff I've gone through, like trauma, and still go through stuff. But then when the physical illness took over, that slid down the pole of priority. And when you're trying to remember things, you keep diaries offline and stuff. And when it's more difficult to write, you know, and then when you get questioned, I can't understand your emails, it's like your brain's not into gear to be able to type the words right. And people, I've noticed comments on Facebook like, oh, I can't really understand what you're trying to get at, because perhaps the mind can't focus properly and to get your thoughts out right, and because your body's so weak as well. I don't know, but that's how it comes across to me and how I feel. And so it's very hard to open up to people you don't know and what really is going on, you know, because I'm now constantly experiencing this, like whoever I deal with, it's like, do you want us to make a safeguarding referral? And this is like a dental home visit. I had a witness to this recently, by the way, my neighbour, he means well, he's got his own problems. And I can't go on like this. And also, like, the medical equipment loan company employees. And it's all to do with the water disrepair that's affecting everything in my health, my life, my flat. How can you cope with not having a shower for 11 months, 10 months, I think it is? So I was just trying to do like a voice diary thing, like how long does it take me in the mornings, what do my friends do in the mornings and the lunchtime, the afternoon. But when I was trying to do that on like a voice app, it was hard, extremely hard, because what the bits I used to be able to do when I had the visual carers before, I used to be able to do, and now I can't do it. So I thought, because how my friends and I work together, we just get on with it. We don't think about it. And you take it for granted. Well, I mean, we have anyway. But then when it comes to like the official way of the system in UK for Care Act 2014, the way they do it, it needs to be in that format, which I need help on. So that's why I thought, well, I found an old document like Monday to Sunday, and then usually the care plan. You never get, not care plan, a rota. You never get a choice. Well, I never did anyway. Who would come, because as if it's companies, they have to shift around so many different people, and you hear about this all for so long. Hours are cut. I was left with so much shite going on my own, and I said to this advocate today, right, she means absolutely that without their service, without her help, I don't know where I'll be to explain things more clearly. And this guy, right, only got me in on the 11th hour. I couldn't help that, because I didn't know I'll get let down by my relative, my sister, because she's got so much herself on her plate. And a disabled son, a self-adult son, and her husband, the way he works. So then suddenly you get all this DWP, all this PIP thing going on as well at the same time. So anybody in a similar position, I could only go about UK, don't know about other countries. It's absolutely, it's no wonder people are struggling. And I don't like being a burden on nobody. That's the thing with me. I like to think I can get on with it. I can cope, you know. But sometimes when that July last year, no, March it were, when I couldn't talk like this and my abscess, my dental health was so bad, my previous neighbour who did my CDs for me, right, he walked by my flat, saw me in the state I was in, couldn't talk, used my analog phone, trying to speak to the doctor on the phone, GP, think I didn't know what's wrong with me. I thought it was a major viral problem. My glands were swollen. I couldn't speak. I could practically drink, couldn't eat. So they sent an ambulance round. Oh my goodness me. And what happened with all that? Well, those two ambulances, well, there's a bloke and two females, they thought I was self-neglecting myself. How could I do that? And they thought someone was harming me. Well, nobody's harming me. It's just they're struggling to, I didn't realise this, and my friends, we finally had a meeting discussion, and I didn't realise they were really worried about my health. I was deteriorating, and it weren't nothing they were doing. And I didn't recognise, I know I was getting ill, but I didn't know how bad and why, and my physical health. And I always wondered why the hell I've never been monitored for all these years. Why have I never been asked for a medical review, medication review? Why have I never been asked for, do I need, I've been left on medications for trauma-related stuff, right? And all these labels. So why have I never been, since I got, NHS people, right, my area, would just discharge me without a backup plan, right, without any support, to say, well, you're just on medication, back to your GP. Well, hold on, when you're seriously got all these conditions and they put it down, say, oh, you've got so much care coming in and so much physical disabilities, and, well, why don't they think of a different way, offer somebody to visit me at home then? because I wasn't thinking like that at the time. I thought that now, but and perhaps they had loads of people on board and they could get to their place of business and offer trauma-related services. I don't know, but the way it works now, I think there's a lot of services online. There's a lot of people similar position, I find, of Facebook and social media. It does a lot of really good, you know, people that's going through things, people that's done it, and they're doing bloody good work, and people are trying to help each other when the state system can't help us, you know. And when you're finding people that are struggling out there, and I've had recent days of this stuff. I've had to delete a couple of videos because I realised that weren't the way to go. And but I was trying to tell the facts as it is. It's not great going through this anymore in a similar position. When the cutbacks everywhere and the changes keep happening in the system across the road, they're getting rid of the county council and the borough council, and they're going to merge it into one great big council. Well, what's going to be people like I trying to see one meets criteria, and that, well, is that going to still the same for adult services? Care, like, as well? Joint up? So this is when you get certain comments, and I ain't going to say who, but certain people, even in their job role, don't know what's going on. That puts you on an edge. And, well, it does for me. And so it's sometimes trying to focus on, like, I don't like loads of paperwork, believe it or not. But when I tried last week to show this lady, this is why I've got nothing up to date, because this is other people's left me to it. This is why my friends are trying to help. This is why they got involved. This is the paperwork I went through before, and I don't want to drag up the old history, but you're pushing my buttons on it. Well, I didn't say it like that. I just said, you're asking all these questions unrelated, I find out. It comes across that way to me, put it that way. Unrelated to the Care Act 2014 kind of questions meant to be asked. Because I found this on these disability websites, and one last night on a lawyer on his video. That was very helpful to realise that, because I thought so bloody, oh my God, now getting this guy involved on just the legal aspects. He's not a lawyer, he's like training to be a paralegal. And the way he's set up is very good. Sovereign Paralegals, check the website, YouTube channel out. Well, not the YouTube channel, the Facebook page out. You've got so many good people experience of what they're trying to do, because the cutbacks and statute funding in Ministry of Justice, the legal aid, the contracts, leaves people without no help. And these kind people out there, ordinary men and women, are absolutely trying to set something up good for the whole of UK. I don't know how it works in Scotland or Wales, whether people get on board there to fill the void. So there's somebody to sit in on meetings. So he's doing it on a pro bono basis. So the only way I can afford is pay into their bank account petrol money. So tomorrow, that's what I plan to do, you know. And it's not a lot, and it's not taking advantage. And I've shared the details with my sister, so you have to be damn careful too. So I wanted to reassure this public servant, I'm doing this video before I get back to the email. She's worded it as attorney. He's not an attorney. All in the paperwork, it's clear that he's sent again today. He went up to see somebody up north, of a lady that's going through shite herself. He's got a good heart, and all of them are trying to help. They did their thing last night on Facebook Live, and when I was waiting for his call or email all day, and you know, when you're in that state of need to get back to others and you're waiting for someone to get back to you, well, this email and public servant needs to cover her back. She has to. I know that. So I knew this was going to be a very, very hard next phase of my life. It's not the end of it. It's just going to be different now. I'll be making less videos. I'll be doing, I have to concentrate on my reality. And for me to focus on that in this way the world is now and the system works is very hard. So yeah, and that means if I have to move out, so be it. You know, if how do I explain it? If anyone, it's not the end of the world. I mean, if I can learn and I can get the right equipment, if I can get the right retraining, perhaps, I don't know, because I don't know how it all works now. So I just know that I don't want constantly being like, oh my gosh, safeguarding, you know, I don't need that. This guy has, I have no, I've got skills, yes. It's just when you get so ill, when you get in the position I am, you lose that kind of certain abilities one had. It's just put on hold, basically. And when you eventually get, I like to think, eventually get the support in place, whatever it may look like, with the consent and with the full explanation, full disclosure of public servants, with this guy enrolled and what they're doing as a group, well, and a national setting up as a business, but also the key elements, not just on this subject, it looks at council tax. It looks at the lawfulness of people working and over, you know, I mean, there's many subjects they're trying to deal with where ordinary everyday men and women in the UK are not getting access to what they need, whether you're disabled or working or not. And what they're concentrating at the moment, the people in serious situations like I, and that's why they're looking for people that's got skills and able to, in common law, contract law, statute law, there's amount of subjects, other subjects. I know what I know, and that's it for me. That just stays in the back burner now. I'm not giving up what I've learned, and I'm thankful for those that have shared their knowledge and skills, and I hope people keep doing that. But when you're in my position, you are in this state system, and unfortunately you cannot keep carrying on. You have to stop and put your health first and work with these people. And there's not everyone is negative. If it wasn't for the police, the way they had to break my door in, and the ambulance staff that time, I wouldn't be talking to you now. If it wasn't for my daughter-in-law and the lights off the Facebook, even though I know certain things that goes on in that subject, I wouldn't be here now. If it wasn't the kindness of these women that wear these like pink outfits in the hospital, do the basic like washing and dressing in the hospital setting, I don't know if I would have come out of the hospital in the right mindset. So, but I ain't going to say it all, but some of these negative experiences I'm still facing, but I'm saying there really are good people, good hearts out there, and it's now learning to work it all this out and getting on the right mindset and the path. And sometimes you can't do it anyway. And sometimes I saw this guy yesterday. Do you know what? He's an ex-army guy, English, young. He's got post-traumatic stress. He got beat up in the park, in the town, up the road, a different park, and he couldn't go to the police. He didn't feel safe to go to the police. He couldn't go to hospital. He had a broken cheekbone and his eye. And for a grown man, I was in my wheelchair, and it's limited what I can do myself at the moment. So I got my cash at the post office. And I was late. I was in bed all day, so fatigued, so ill. And I had to find the energy. And my friends had to struggle to get me up. And something about him, his body language, when he come up to ask for cash, well, I only had a few that change left. The last bit of change I had left. All struggle. And I saw him go up to so many people, working people, all right, they struggled too, I'm sure, turning their back on him. And when I got close enough and I heard him say to one bloke, older bloke, well-dressed business bloke, and he said no. And I looked in my purse. I had a few loose change, is all I had. And I just, with my dodgy right arm, I said, come here, mate, come in. And the cameras are around us, I know it's a safe place. And I said, look, you stay with me for a minute. And he was crying. There's tears in his eyes. He's crying. He said he's alone, although he's got a flat. Do you know what I remembered from that social worker last week? What she did and said to me, apart from the other stuff I was shocked and alarmed by, but she did something really, really, for me, it was a break I needed, like, in my mindset to say and to hear. Just because you got post-traumatic stress, it doesn't define who you are. And I wasn't quite taking it all in then. But as I saw that guy yesterday, when he said that, that's what I remembered from that meeting last week. And that made me think about my situation. It doesn't define who you are. And I think now this is why the national media are pushing this mental health. Because if you don't talk about it, if you don't try and say, well, this unfortunately is not a taboo anymore. And complex for me, I've got physical disabilities on top. You can never judge a book by the cover. I saw it in his eyes. I saw this genuine young chap in his eyes, right? And I said, it's like I remember talking to my son one time when my mum's about to die. And I suddenly had to think on my feet, when I can't walk, but in my wheelchair one weekend. And I knew I couldn't get to my mum's aid in the hospital. I was stuck at home. Couldn't get there. I went out of battery. Couldn't get back. My family didn't give a shit. Excuse my bluntness. The ones that live in my area don't give a monkey's about me. Yeah, that's how bad that is. Anyway, so he's all miles away from me. His wife couldn't console him. And all these years I raised my kids, right? Over the years, I did the best by them, that's all I could do. And I said, do you remember when Gran used to look after you when I used to go training in London for my trained up in reflexology? I used to run a business. It wasn't very good, but at least I tried years ago. And I met very well-known people. I will never divulge anything like that. As far as I'm concerned, that's a past, and now I'm moving on. And I said to my son that day, that evening, do you remember the good times when you used to stay at Gran's? And do you know sometimes when people are dying? And I only was able to do that by kind people online. And if Rebecca Badley on YouTube, you really want to check her talent out. She's a beautiful artist and beautiful lady. Through her, I met Lost Horizon. Her mathematic mind and skills is so amazing. And her knowledge in natural health is amazing. And then you've got Mr. Green, I think it's pronounced as that. But you can check it via the links I just mentioned on Rebecca Badley's website in America. And through those contacts, you get to know people on the Hangouts. And that gave me the courage to look at me, in a way, and my kind of like baggage. And I worked on me subconsciously with meditation. And I'm not perfect, still not there, but it's absolutely lifted a bag of years and years and years of stuff off my shoulders. So much. And in that area, it hasn't resolved a lot, but it's lifted a lot. So when my son needed me, I was able to, as an adult, in my own mind, realise my mum's going to pass. I was able to be in that mindset to give him the right time, the right moment to help him. I said, just remember that when you went to visit your gran, although you didn't have much of a relationship, remember the good parts about her. Just remember the little bits you can remember. And whether that helped, I hope it did. And I just repeated the same soft tone voice, just saying that I know, because my mum will die any day. And it's hard for me because I've never had a good relationship for a long time with her. And I've had to work on me, myself. It's not anyone else's situation. It's me. I have to work on me to come to that realisation. And sometimes we do. But then sometimes you have to stop and realise when you need external help. It's not just about medication, by the way, anyone listening, public servants. You need to look at the holistic side too, I would have thought. And anyway, that seemed to work with my son, so I'll find out by my daughter-in-law. And I think, I hope that when it does actually come, because there's been many, many recent events with my mum, and where it's been happening quite frequently. But now my brother's got the power of attorney. I only found that out recently. And that's when I was looking at power of attorney. But this is when I started researching. I come across this information about this guy. He's not a lawyer. He's not an attorney. It's just a word that is being misused. Well, perhaps misunderstood by certain public servant. I mean, individual, shall we put it that way, in a job role. And because you don't want to lose a job, of course, and the benefits with that public role, in a job role, and also trying to help me at the same time, and other people. So I need to try. I don't know why she's emailed me to seek clarification, because I think it's that new data protection thing that's coming in UK. And well, it was a bit strange because I'll go back to the guy I helped yesterday. So I helped my son on that issue. So yesterday, I remember what I said to my son, and I said to this bloke, didn't I? And I said, I don't know why he said it to me, because he don't know me from Adam. But I was in my wheelchair. And just, I don't know why, I just like, well, there's not much I can do with my situation right now. Get out, put the music on. And when you get so much going on, your mind is, taking that moment. It didn't help much, but I don't know, sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. And I happened to help somebody out. And he told me freely what happened to him. And I knew he needed to get to A&E, the local hospital, and to get that x-rayed. And I knew it would need to be operated on, his face. So, I'm no expert, but I could just see it, looking at him. And then he just was crying. I said, do you have family? You know, because there's you can't automatically presume somebody does. Friends and family in your life. That's what goes on at the moment. So I said, look, don't worry, I know what it's like. And I just gave him a few change that I had. And he says, I'm only just trying to get a sandwich. He's got nothing in his flat. And because he said to me this, right, and this stroke, I know, because when I get bad days, I want my curtains closed. I want the world shut out. It's not a way to live. But that's what happens sometimes. And he described it. He says, he says he's got black curtains, you know, blackout windows. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know that for a fact. But that's the way he said it to me, come across generally. And he says, and that's when he said he was in the army. So the flashbacks, he said it to me. And I knew exactly what he meant. And I said, look, I know you live with this every day. You can, you know, it takes time. It may never recover, but it takes time. You live with it. And I just said, do you have a doctor? You know, do you have, and he mentioned a place I know about. Okay, so I know a lot of services are struggling. And so I said, do you have, and it's a trust issue. And I said, do you have, or would you think, I said it in such a way, I don't know precise words, I can remember now, but I said in such a way, calm voice, I listened, I had time to listen. And sometimes that's what people need, is stop and time to listen. He says, all I'm trying to do is just get a sandwich. I ain't got anything in my flat. So I remember I speak to those, you can't always tell the homeless people begging are genuine or not, I know. But I'm no expert in body language either. And I just go with my gut feeling. And I do, before, occasionally stop to talk to the homeless people, because you never know when it's going to be anyone next, right? What's going on now is getting ridiculous in the UK. Worse than that, anyway. So when he said, you don't know it's true or not, but when in his eyes and his body language, I just knew, and my gut feeling was telling the truth. I said, this is all really genuine I've got on me. And I said to him about this place up the road from me, I know they do a voluntary drop-in service where he can get a shower while he's got a flat, so he doesn't need that. But I know they can pinpoint him if he feels able to, like food, cheap food, like food banks. Shouldn't be like that, should it, in UK? It's going to end up, we might be in that situation soon. My mum taught me, thank goodness she did, about saving up, like every, say, any pound you have spare or something, put it in a pantry or drawer, even if it's tin stuff or dry stuff. You never know, do you? And it's like toiletries, basic things like that. So that's what I've been trying to do, not much. But that's why it dawned on me, I remembered that, you see, and that's what I said to the guy yesterday. It's not ideal, I can't get into food banks, it's not accessible in my situation. But you might be able to walk there. And when I said that, right, I saw a change in his face. I saw a slight, he stopped crying. And I said, look, that's when he said, oh, what I said, do you have anything that you're good at to think, get him to think about himself, right? And he says, yeah, I've got my computers. Well, there you go, you see. You're very talented. You've been in the army. You've got skills. And that took him off feeling down. That stopped him crying because his thought was turned into another way. And although he might still go back to thinking negative a bit, perhaps later on, but that brief moment stopped him thinking negative, stopped him crying. And then I said, that's when I was able to slowly bring in the subject, well, do you think you're able to get up to the A&E? Because I would hate to think you get home and collapse. Because he said what happened in the park, he had a seizure. You know, seizure? Something happened and he fell to the ground. And that's when he got robbed of his change he had on him. That's when he had no money for food. And I don't know, but by the injuries and what he said and his body language, it's true. And I said, my God, I thought to myself, where the hell are the police? And the area described, they always monitor. Where's the public? Where's the people walking by? Why don't they stop to help somebody like that? I'm too afraid to get involved now. What's the world come to? And that's what I didn't say it to him, but that's what I thought. And when I stopped myself from speaking out loud like that. So I said to him, when you find the courage, and if you don't mind me saying, it's important to get yourself checked out because that could lead to a serious injury in your health if you go back on your flat on your own and something happens to you. And if you say you've got no family, you've got no friends, you feel isolated, and you've got those black curtains or blacked out windows, who's going to know if it happens to you? And that, I don't know if he did get to the hospital, because I just know that he had enough change to get a sandwich. And I know that he stopped crying, he stopped feeling for a brief moment why he did. And I just I just reached out for somebody that needed the help just there and then. And although I can't do much for myself right this minute in the situation I'm going through, I was able to do something for someone else. It doesn't cost a lot, does it? So I just hope, I got no information about him. I just said, well, look, I just hope, well, my stopping in my wheelchair, even though my situation he might just remember, or if he's on his computer, he might remember to look for resources about the subject and what he's going through. Because when you're going through that, you don't always, you try to cope, you try to hide everything, you know, what really is going on in your life. And that's what, you know, I mean, all right, my situation didn't change when I got home, but, and it still hasn't, but it still made me realise that when I called this guy, it's just trying to step in to try and observe my lawful rights this time round, dealing with certain people I need to deal with, trying to help me. It ain't an easy situation for thousands of people like I. And, well, this email basically was seeking clarification. Well, excuse me, I've been seeking clarification since last Thursday. So, yeah, if I hadn't called this individual, because they're trying to help thousands of people like me in their own way. But I also realise the wording he uses documents, the public servants in their job role, in their definition, where he's worded things, they won't recognise it. So now I've got the task at this 11th hour before the meeting tomorrow is to clarify he's observing and just making sure that my rights are protected. I have to word it slightly differently. And thank goodness, I was a right state yesterday, I tell you. And thank goodness for the advocate taking her time out of her, with 2 people seriously ill in hospital. I ain't going into much because it's private for her and her situation. There's people she's helping. And I clean forgot what she said in the first part of the conversation, and I went on because I was so focused on trying to get things rectified and answered, and nothing's been clarified on what I need for tomorrow, and going through all this uncertainty and so much is all happening at once, trying to break it down one thing at another, and it's hard. It is. Talk to strangers about your reality and how they can help you, especially when it's their job to push the buttons to ask all these questions. And don't need to answer, of course, but if you can't reach out and sometimes to stop and to move forward in life and to get a better quality of life somehow, they might not be able to help. At the end of the day, they might be able to point you somewhere else. I don't know, because so many people like me go through it all. So anyway, I just reassured. I mean, I don't know anyone in the UK who only has similar opinion that see things going to the top, and in so many ways. And that's what I mean. I have to put my brakes on it all. I can't get involved in all the things I know about. I have to focus on my reality. And that means facing up to how my friends do struggle and help. And I'd rather them be them friends rather than what they've never harmed me. I've never done anything to them. And all I've tried to show in my videos was about, okay, the weather subject originally, and then the housing, and now all this I find out is all affected. It's unlawful, I know. So I've breached my human rights, I know. But every time you go to so-called advisors, well, the legal aid, the statutory side, well, they've cut back the funding. So now that's stretched everything. I don't know what different parts of the United Kingdom, but my area, waiting list long, as long as you can think, to try and get the support and welfare benefits, or housing, or care. Well, not so much from the care, because the way it's slightly different, but the benefits side, definitely. So the pressure and the cutbacks to get people to go online, but when you've got complex ill health like I on top, it makes it more difficult. When you go to online services, well, they can't quite go to you with a medical assessment when they're finding people paperwork, or even supporting your own home. And how can I help people in my home the way it is? It's not my doing, by the way, all this. So when you look at the national picture for thousands of people like I see it, there's a reason behind it all. And how it come across when I can no longer do it. I'm not going to do any more research like that. And when it comes across to me, there's a lot of smaller care homes going bust as well. There's protocols. I don't meet the age group. I'm not old enough, thank gosh, but I'm not old enough to meet the support services of Age UK. You have to be 55 and over. So I don't meet a certain age group. It's all about categories and procedures and policies and statute law, and I'm sitting within it. So there's no guarantee at the end of the day, like this advocate, if she hadn't took the time out for me today to explain how things work, which I've never been informed by a certain public servant or services, I've had to find out myself. And that's why I say anyone in similar position, I can't speak, similar position to I look at disabled people against cuts. There's YouTube channels, there's Facebook pages, there is websites. Look at Disability Law Service, Disability Rights. They got, if you're able to, got family, friends, you need to get information. You can download it, the leaflets, and they've got accessible formats as well for those who've got other type of unseen disabilities or learning disabilities, deaf and blind as well. So I would have thought there's too much like looking after I'm alright Jack kind of attitude, especially where I live. And if there's a fire in my block where I live, in the flats, well, I'm at risk. Someone broke in during the night the other day, right, and the back door lock's broken. Again, that's another risk to me. I'm the nearest door to that back door, as well as the other main door. And it's more difficult. I did that video, it's still public, you can see it, trying to negotiate these doors and the fire door in my wheelchair. It's much more difficult. That's another reason why I'd rather not live here. But you see, if there's no other accessible housing, then it's going to be an environment. It's not going to be an environment I'm going to like, but it's going to be somewhere where I've got to think about health and safety. So that's been hard for me to come to terms with, and I think that's why I've been having a bit of a melting down a couple of days. And it's not usually like me. And I've always been quite resourceful, trying to figure out ways, but at the moment things are getting a bit too much. And you know, it will be again tomorrow. I ain't gonna like it, but it needs to be done. And so you have to be, I mean, if you don't mind me saying, anyone going through so much out there, remember to look after I can't eat proper booze anymore, so I have to remember to keep drinking. Even if it's just like, you know, smoothies and your fruit and veg, even if it's blended up in soups, that's all I can do now. Well, I can't do it anymore myself. Even the little bits I used to do, my friends would do everything for me now. So what I'm saying is just look after your health. And when the world seems crashing around you, whether you use your job, your loved ones, your family, and soon there might not be any visible public services around the way the world is going around, well, especially my area. But anyway, I'm not going to get involved in all that stuff, the things I know about. And so yeah, she went out the way, the advocate, for me to explain perhaps certain reason why this female public servant was the way she was last week, and explained the terminology that I needed. And that's the kind of thing, you see, it's why these other guys are involved. it's a terminology that he is very good at articulating. I'm very good at a lot of things, but when it's personal and when they're talking about me and I'm trying to get things done and see what could help me, and all these documents, 40 pages on one, 20 pages on another, and when you go through so much anyway, and then also knowing the fact I need a big operation, I won't be able to talk, then how would that work? I mean, I will not be able to recover here. I know this environment is not going to be like the environment I need. Even if I went somewhere like a temporary nursing place, I still won't be able to recover it. And it could be at the end of the day, after all this information gathering, that, oh, if this could be done, if that could be done, it's like intrusion in your private life. I mean, I know a lot of people do have family, perhaps, and don't need public services. But at the end of the day, if things could be done the way they've done all along since last July, I might not be in as bad as the situation I am now. There's certain people behind that, you see, that don't have no clue about reasonable adjustments or housing or disabled people, you know. God forbid if they ever end up, unfortunately, in one situation. Yet I'm paying their bloody wages through this rent. So you see the unbalance. There's no such thing as lawful justice, you see, nowadays, especially in a lot of areas. And that's the only reason, as I said, why I got this guy involved in what they're doing. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Check it out. They've got a paralegals website. They set up a trust and trust law, equity and trust law, and the way they've done it. But unfortunately, as I said, they're just learning a lot. A lot of people are skilled and a lot of people are still learning. And I've noticed a couple of words he's clicked upon on a certain document today, which has prompted this email, I believe, by this advocate. No, not advocate, this public servant. So I did ask this advocate to contact this public servant today to reassure her he's only sitting in to support me because I don't have the family to do that, and to observe and to protect my rights in this situation. Assessment process, I'm talking about UK. And there's no guarantee because he doesn't know about certain subjects I've had to read up on, I've had to learn about. He doesn't know about me, so she just want to make sure I'm covering her back, really, that's all it is. About the data protection, and it's a bit ironic, really, because they breached my data protection, public servants, and they've covered it all up. And I paid 2 lots of 10 quid for my data last July, and they blocked me to it all and not reimbursed me. And yet they want to share. Well, that's how the system is now, isn't it? This format's been shared, perhaps played back how many times, shared to whoever, and your phone lines, your data. This is how this system is. Technology is now, isn't it? So yeah, no matter how much software and how brilliant your technical skills may be, you know, and all this software to protect your information, it's still data. Your data's worth a lot, and the sharing, and you see what's going on in different parts of the world about all that. So that's it. I know what I'm now fully aware. I don't like everything, no, but I'm fully aware. So anyway, gotta end it there. Time's getting on. So if I've shared a couple of points that might just be helpful to slowly find little things, and it is honestly really little things. Seeing a beautiful bird, hearing just little things. Oh, being a Thursday, you know, being a bank holiday throws a week out. I don't know about anywhere else, but anyway. I have to set phones to remind me to take certain medications, and this is one thing I need to do right now. So I've come on here to like say, well, this guy is not a lawyer, and the reason I couldn't really type in the description box what I meant by that, hence me. I don't think I'll be able to talk as much tomorrow. I think I'll be wiped out again. It's frustrating. And I just need to, hopefully I can get some kind of like balance. I don't know how things are going to pan out. And I wish I had a crystal ball. I wish I had these skills to look into the remote viewing or futuristic type knowledge, you know. I look at it this way. We're on this earth a very, very short time. And we've all got our own situations going through, good, bad, the ugly. You might not be going through nothing. And if you are well connected and supported, then good on you. If you only know too well what it's like, then you only know how difficult things are and getting there, not be negative. So, no, it's not going to be all roses and all perfect at all. No, it never is. Just to find a safe balance. And yes, this is the big negative thing what they're doing to so many people like I out there, making people fit for work when they're not. So yeah, they're balancing the books. They're trying to find out who really needs care and who. I mean, look how many people have to sell their homes. Look how many people are wrongly assessed. You know, not just like in this subject all about, but all sorts of situations. Look what people have to do just to keep a roof over their heads. You know, look how easy it is to companies to go bust and people to lose their jobs and their homes and everything around the world, not just in the UK. But then you know that every breath you take, I just thank goodness, you know, whatever spirituality is around us in this world, I just thank goodness that I can just, alright, I've got all this going on, but at least I can just wake up and hear those birds singing right now. That means more to me than all this going on. Do you know? Can't predict the outcome of all this going on. I know certain people might already in the way they work, and sometimes they're just doing their job and their computers. I'm not a computer. I'm not a tick box. I'm just me. Take it or leave it. Don't like it, then you do. Go elsewhere. And that's all I am. And when I get my meltdowns, I see who I am. And now I'm just me. I am nothing to hide. When I know those out there that are just out to discredit me all the bloody time. They're always out to bloody find fault. And you know, they're the ones that's got the problem, not I. They're the ones that's got something missing in their life, and they're sick and sad because they have no idea what it's like to live in the real world. They live in the Eiffel Tower somewhere. Oh, I'm all right, Jack. Nothing happened to me. I got my mates. I got my connections, mate, you know. Until it hits them, or their loved ones, or their family members. But it might not ever happen to them. Core group of people around the world. You never know, do you? But I know from observations for so long now, do you know, people living in shanking towns with tin-up roofs and even literally homeless, when you see them going through so much, they appreciate every bit of simple things in life. When you haven't got nothing, they know what life's really about on this earth, you know. It's not going to fancy churches. It's not going to the big YouTube channels. It's not going to be all this motivation big YouTube channels and pay through the nose just to get a bit of advice. Do you know, it's talking to ordinary people that's going through it or been through it that can outshare that experience. And one day, I'll guarantee you, I'll get through all this. I still ain't going to be perfect with my situation. I like to think one day, and it's going to be a long way off, that I can help another individual. But my experience, and I like to think yesterday, that unseen energy around us all, whatever belief systems you have, I was put there in the right place, right time. I don't believe in coincidences. I was put there in the right time, right place. And today, if I hadn't been near my phone, I wouldn't have got that phone call from the advocate. And she went out her way. She didn't need to. So I just remembered at the end of the call, I said, I'm sorry. This is the thing I'm learning about me, by the way. I'm sorry. I forgot that you're going through your own problems and you need your own rest too. Because it's about human nature, isn't it? It's about being compassionate. And it's hard when you're going through shit yourself to find that extra strength. So my way tomorrow is going to say thank you to that social worker. I know you got a tough job. I know this ain't easy on you. It ain't easy on me. We're just going to find a way through it. Well, I should be very professional about it all, obviously. But this is how I'm going to approach it. And if this guy tomorrow goes down on this tangent that he's can go down, I'm going to have to step in and say, please, can you just bear with us? Because if I didn't say what I said to this advocate today, I said, look, I've studied all these subjects that he knows about, I know about, and I know that you don't. And I saw your body language. I saw the way it went over your head last week. And I saw it. I'm not expert body language, but I saw it in her. And I saw it in that social worker, and that's why she was negative towards that guy. I wished I had time to inform them. But as I said, I got it down by my family member at 11th hour. And so anyway, I didn't need to say that, but I did because, as I said, human nature. It's just, that's why I like to treat people. I'm not expert. I made my mistakes, plenty of them. And all you can do is live by them and learn by them somehow. That's all I've got to say. And if you're going through a lot, whether in, we're all going through things in this life. And, even though I don't know you listen to this or playing back this, yeah, it's hard. I really do not like doing certain things I am to go through at the moment, but I need to. I've got to go. And I'm not giving in, by the way, if anyone thinks that. I just need to do things differently. And when you need to work with people, you need to find a balance. And for me, that's hard work. God bless, keep safe, I don't think I can keep making any videos on this channel anymore. I really do need to focus on what is right in front of me offline and make a life somehow offline. And just use this resource for you to, as that, just a resource. And big shout out for everybody out there. Keep up what you're doing. And yeah, I'm just going to set up a new channel. Not right away. It's already set up, but I won't be using it yet. I'm not in the right place right now to do anything about that. I just need to focus on what I need to do in my offline life, if you know what I mean. So I'll keep watching your videos, those that subscribe to this channel. And thanks to all those that subscribed and checked in occasionally. I won't close it down, it'll just be kept there, but this will be my last video now. And that has to be. So, time to move on. And this is it for now. So, thank you for being with me for this time on this channel. Life trying again. And just remember, if you want to just revisit my video and you're feeling shite yourself and you're feeling the way that life is, simple little things, what I just said today, if it strikes a chord, it's just, if I can help anything, little thing, what I'm going through right now, what I said today, I hope I've helped somebody. I've got to go now. God bless, keep safe. Remember, we are all made of pure energy in our mind, body and soul. We are all connected in some way. Doesn't matter our differences. It's bloody hard work. And I don't think, for my example, I don't think I got one over. If I didn't get one over and all this ill health happened to me, I don't think I'll be speaking like this today. I've had a life mixing with the wealthy, with the well-to-do people for a long time. And I was a very shallow woman. And when you mix with that circle of people for so long, it takes a big transformation in one's life. Don't believe everything, all these celebrities on telly, radio and all that stuff. When you're waking up, you realise this, but if you don't realise this, I've been there. I've been on telly, I've been on radio, and I've been in areas which I do not ever think of going back to. Because I know what goes on behind the scenes. But I'll keep that always to myself. It's up to people what they want to do in their life. I'm not them, I'm just me. And that's all I'm going to do now on. Much more, just focus on my little thing and to get myself sorted. God bless.